to officials in Tanzania who remain tight-lipped about the investigation into Thabo Bester's entry into the country and subsequent arrest and deportation to South Africa. The local journalists there are saying that despite questions to law enforcement, police say they can't give more details as investigations are ongoing. Newzroom Afrika's Hugo Ribatika is in Arusha, Tanzania, and that's where Thabo Bester alongside Dr. Nandipha Makudumana were arrested. Hugo, good morning to you. What are you being told by authorities in Tanzania about the entry of these two individuals into that country?
Good morning, Tuli. Good to speak to you. Very little, actually, that we're being told. In fact, little to nothing. The information that we've been able to gather has come from a number of journalists. And again, for them, there's been very little information that has been released by the police. The police did put out a statement, and it was a very, very brief, Tuli, and it went something like this. There were two South African citizens arrested here in Arusha. Those two people killed someone in South Africa, and they came to Tanzania. End of that statement. But what we've also been able to establish is that Zakaria Alberto was the third individual. We talked about a Mozambican national who accompanied Dr. Nandipha and Thabo Bester to Tanzania. In fact, he was part of that trio that was arrested. So we do know that his name is Zakaria Alberto. I am in a place at the moment called Njiru. And it is in this greater Njiru area that Thabo Bester, Dr. Nandipha Makudumana are supposed to have resided for a period of up to a month before they made that move towards Kenya for the final, which would have been the final leg to their planned escape. So that's some of the information that we know at the moment. We are obviously still speaking to a number of other journalists, trying to get as much information as we can. But we can also tell you that the local police here in Arusha were not involved in any of the investigative process, including the arrest and the deportation of these three individuals. All of that was done by police force coming straight out of Dar es Salaam, which is about an 8-hour drive from where we are in Arusha. So not much being said by the police here in Arusha, but we continue to survey the landscape, if you will, and get as much information as we can. We've tried to speak to local leadership here in Arusha, in fact, in Njiru, where we are, to establish what they know about Thabo Bester and obviously the place that he resided, which is somewhere within this vicinity from what we understand. But again, without authority from their various head offices, they're unable to tell us anything more than that, Toli.
Yeah, what about the residents of Arusha, Hugo? Are they willing to give any information at all? In fact, is this story of Thabo Bester something that has triggered attention from their side? I mean, you're saying that these two would have stayed in that area for about a period of a month before they tried to escape to Kenya. Do any of the people there remember these two?
Well, we haven't been able to establish the exact location where they resided. Now, you will imagine that if you're a fugitive, you do all you can to remain inconspicuous, so people wouldn't actually know that you're a fugitive. Thabo Bester, Dr. Nandipha Makudumana, and Zakaria Alberto were not arrested anywhere within the vicinity of where they were residing for that period of a month, if that's what it was. They were, in fact, arrested on their way to Kenya, which is, I think, the drive to the border is close on 100 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. So it's about an hour to an hour and a half drive. So that is where they were apprehended, on their way to the border. So very little information from the residents here. In fact, we don't have sight or any idea of the exact place where they were residing. So that information is some of what we're still trying to discover or uncover at this point in time.
Hugo Ribatika.
And to answer your second question, which is how much is known, by these individuals, it seems that very little attention was given. It seems very little attention was given to the case because it was or held in secrecy. And it's only a handful of journalists that are actually aware that there was a man called Thabo Bester who had an accomplice and a third individual, Zakaria Alberto, in the country. So only a handful of those journalists are aware of that information. We've spoken to several others that had no idea that this was happening. And as far as publicity is concerned and what media coverage was given here in Arusha, Tanzania, very little police. So the police and the various government departments have done as much as they can to keep it under wrap. And obviously it raises the question, why?
Hugo Ribatika, thank you very much. My colleague there, live for us in Arusha, in Tanzania. It is the area where Thabo Bester is understood to have stayed alongside his partner.